Did you know that nearly 40% of Americans over the age of 80 feel completely unready for what this chapter of life brings? While much attention is given to financial planning and staying physically fit, there are 7 uncomfortable truths about life beyond 80 that no one, not your family, not your doctor, not even society wants to talk about. These aren't minor inconveniences. They are transformative realities that can either catch you off guard or, if you're informed, help you navigate aging with greater resilience. Over the next 12 minutes, I'll reveal the raw, unspoken truths about crossing that 80-year mark. Truth number 4 will likely surprise even those who think they're ready. Let me introduce you to Dorothy, an 82-year-old retired schoolteacher who thought she had prepared for aging in every way. She exercised daily, saved consistently, and maintained strong ties with loved ones. But one afternoon, she called me in tears and said, "No one warned me this is what it would feel like." What she came to understand completely changed how she viewed growing older. The reason these truths are rarely shared is simple: they're too painful for most people to confront. It's far easier to believe that good habits and careful planning will protect us from life's final curveballs. But pretending these realities don't exist doesn't make them go away. It only leaves us exposed. Today, I want to walk you through Dorothy's journey and the 7 difficult truths she uncovered, along with practical advice on how to face them with strength and purpose. If you're comfortable sharing, let us know your age in the comments. You may find this insight changes the way you think about the years ahead. And be sure to stay through to the end, because truth number 4 highlights something that affects every person over 80, yet no one talks about it. Dorothy used to host monthly dinners for a dozen friends, but by 82, she struggled to gather more than 3 people. This isn't just about old friends relocating, it's a stark mathematical truth about aging that few dare to speak aloud. What actually happens to your social life after 80 is more heartbreaking than most will admit. Statistics paint a clear picture. The average person over 80 loses about 60% of their social circle within 5 years. And this isn't just about numbers, it's about seeing your once full world slowly shrink. As Dorothy told me, "I didn't just lose friends to death though, that was painful enough. I lost them to dementia, to family members who moved them far away, and to physical conditions that made leaving the house impossible." Loneliness doesn't arrive all at once. It sneaks in gradually until one day, you realize your connections are gone. The bridge club dissolves because members can't drive anymore. The walking group fades when too many people struggle with balance. The couple you used to travel with can no longer board a plane. Your church community scatters as illness and caregiving demands pull people away. This isn't about fear, it's about awareness. Because if you know what's coming, you can prepare not just to survive these changes, but to find unexpected strength within them. What makes this especially painful is that just when you most need emotional support while facing health issues, grief, and major life shifts, the very people you'd normally rely on begin to disappear. And the effects aren't just emotional. Studies show that loneliness has the same health impact as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. But here's what Dorothy discovered. This hard truth can also be freeing. It gave her permission to build new types of relationships. She began volunteering at a neighborhood pantry and met people from all kinds of backgrounds. She joined a local reading group at the senior center and found that meaningful friendships aren't limited by age. She even used video calls and online forums to reconnect with extended family and meet others who shared her interests. The key isn't to fight the change, it's to anticipate it. Your circle will shift whether you like it or not, so it's better to begin creating new bonds before the loneliness sets in too deeply. Start broadening your connections in ways that respect your physical limits and evolving lifestyle. What's your biggest fear when it comes to aging? Share your thoughts in the comments. You're not the only one feeling this way, but be prepared, the next truth may hit even closer to home. Truth number 2. Your family relationships will never be the same. At 78, Dorothy was still the rock of the family, hosting holiday dinners, offering wisdom, and holding everything together. But by 82, the roles had flipped. Her daughter was overseeing medical choices, and her son had taken over managing the bills. The shift was sudden and deeply emotional, and no one had warned her just how difficult it would be. This isn't just about needing help around the house. It's about watching your identity as the capable one slowly disappear. You've spent decades being the caregiver, the decision maker, the one others turn to. And now, your children see you differently and they start treating you differently too. Dorothy put it best. "I raised 5 kids, balanced a household budget for most of my life, and taught in classrooms for decades. But the moment I struggled to open a medicine bottle, it felt like everyone started doubting my judgment." Their intentions may be good, they want to help, to protect, but it often feels like you're being pushed aside. Conversations about your life happen without you. Decisions get made for your benefit without your input. Your voice loses weight. You're no longer leading, you're being managed. This is where things get especially painful. The people you love the most can become the source of your deepest frustration. Your children think they're showing love, but to you, it feels like being sidelined. Everyone is trying their best, yet nobody really knows how to handle this shift with grace. What helped Dorothy was learning to speak up early and clearly. She sat her kids down and told them exactly what support she welcomed and what areas she could still manage on her own. It wasn't easy, but it was necessary. Dorothy put together what she called a dignity plan, a set of clear understandings about how decisions would be made. She specified when she wanted to be consulted and when she was comfortable letting others take the lead. She also came to understand something powerful. Her value wasn't tied to her independence. Accepting help didn't mean she was less capable or less wise, it simply meant she was human. And perhaps the most freeing realization? She could still play an important role in her family, just in a new way. The crucial difference was approaching these changes with intention instead of waiting for a crisis. By talking about expectations and needs early, she avoided resentment later. She made her voice heard while she was still strong enough to do so. Have you ever been through this kind of role shift, either with your own parents or in your personal life? Share your experience in the comments. It might help someone else navigate this tough adjustment. But the next truth? It's even more difficult because it strikes at the one thing we all assume will remain steady. Truth number 3. Your body will betray you in ways you never imagined. Dorothy was diligent with her health. She exercised regularly, followed a balanced diet, and stayed up to date with her doctor visits. She felt ready for the usual signs of aging, maybe some joint stiffness, weaker eyesight, slower movement. But nothing prepared her for the chain reaction of health issues that began in her 80s, or how one small problem could unravel into 5. Here's what no one really tells you. Once you reach a certain age, your body doesn't just slow down, it begins breaking down in multiple areas at once. It's not one condition you can treat. It's a combination of challenges that compound one another. Dorothy's story is familiar to many. Her mild arthritis made it harder to stay active, which weakened her muscles and threw off her balance. She became more cautious, which limited her mobility even more. Then came the isolation. A bit of hearing loss made socializing tiring, so she avoided gatherings, slipped into depression, and started sleeping poorly. That led to brain fog, which made her family overprotective, and the cycle deepened. The hardest part? Her mind stayed sharp while her body let her down. She still knew what she wanted to do and how to do it, but physically she couldn't. It was like living in a body that no longer listened, and the frustration was overwhelming. Everyday routines turned into puzzles. Something as simple as opening a jar became a project. Dressing required patience and strategy. Stairs felt like hiking uphill. Even her own living space became a source of stress, full of obstacles she had never noticed before. But here's what Dorothy discovered. Instead of resisting these changes, she learned to adapt. She made adjustments while she still had the energy and clarity to do it. Grab bars were installed before she needed them urgently. Her kitchen was rearranged for ease, not pride. She started using assistive tools before she reached the point of frustration. Most importantly, she stopped measuring her worth by what her body could still do. Her wisdom, her kindness, her insight, those didn't disappear with her physical strength. Dorothy made a conscious decision to focus on what she could still control, and she got creative with how she managed what she couldn't. The secret wasn't in denial or resistance, it was in staying one step ahead. She didn't wait until things became overwhelming. Instead, she anticipated what her body might need and made changes before they became urgent. That's the difference between thriving and simply enduring. What physical challenge caught you off guard as you got older? Share your story in the comments. You never know who might benefit from your insight. But nothing could have prepared Dorothy for what came next, a truth that touches everyone beyond 80, yet almost no one talks about. Truth number 4. At some point, society will stop seeing you. And for Dorothy, this was the hardest reality to accept. It started subtly. At the supermarket, the cashier barely acknowledged her. Then, at a doctor's visit, the nurse addressed her daughter instead of speaking directly to her. By 82, it became painfully clear to the world around her. She had become invisible. And emotionally, the weight of that realization was overwhelming. It's not that she changed, it's that society changed how it responded to her. People over 80 aren't seen as complex, capable individuals anymore. Instead, they're lumped into vague labels like senior or elderly. Your name is replaced by a category, your story by assumptions. This loss of visibility isn't limited to public spaces. It happens everywhere. Restaurant servers ask your children what you'd like to eat. Store employees grow impatient when you move slower. In conversations, your voice is politely ignored or brushed aside. People presume you don't keep up with technology or modern culture. Worst of all, the people closest to you start doing it too. Family members discuss your care as if you're not in the room. Your input is overlooked in favor of what they believe is best. And those years of knowledge and lived experience? Dismissed as outdated or irrelevant. Dorothy described it as disappearing while still being here. She once was the go-to for advice. Now she felt like a shadow present, but no longer seen. Her words carried less weight. Her memories were considered quaint, and her opinions became optional. And this invisibility isn't just disheartening, it's dangerous. When others no longer see you as a full person, your needs are more easily ignored. Your safety can be compromised, and your voice, once central to your life, risks being silenced. But Dorothy didn't let herself fade. She responded with quiet strength. She corrected people who talked around her, insisting they speak to her directly. She dressed neatly, stood tall, and engaged with the world on her terms. She stayed current on news and culture so she could participate in discussions with confidence. And she intentionally built a circle of people who saw her not as a burden or an afterthought, but as a vibrant person with value. The lesson is clear. Don't wait for the world to remember you matter. Take steps early to assert your presence, keep your voice strong, and surround yourself with those who respect what you bring to the table, not despite your age, but because of it. Don't quietly accept being ignored or talked over. Stand up for yourself and insist on the respect you've earned. Have you ever felt invisible as you've gotten older? How did you respond? Share your experience in the comments. Your insights might be exactly what someone else needs to hold on to their dignity. But what comes next cuts even deeper because it touches the very foundation of independence: your finances. Truth number 5. Your money may turn against you. Dorothy believed she was financially ready for retirement. She had her Social Security benefits, a pension, and a modest savings account. But what she never saw coming was how the financial system itself would become a quiet adversary after 80, filled with unexpected costs and invisible limitations. The hidden price of growing older goes far beyond what any retirement brochure warns you about. Medical bills don't just come from major health crises, they accumulate slowly through the routine management of multiple conditions. Monthly prescriptions can run into the hundreds. Modifying your home to stay safe, grab bars, ramps, stair lifts costs thousands. And should you need any form of caregiving, the expenses can drain decades of savings in just a few months. But it's not only the big-ticket items, it's the little charges that build up. Grocery delivery because driving isn't safe anymore. Paying for services you used to handle yourself: cleaning, yard work, minor repairs. Buying specialized equipment to stay mobile and safe. Getting to appointments becomes a challenge without a car, and rides aren't cheap. All the while, your income stays the same. Social Security doesn't keep up with real-life inflation, especially not healthcare inflation. So, year after year, your budget stretches thinner. You have the same amount of money, but it buys you less. Dorothy also ran into another unpleasant truth. Financial institutions don't always treat older adults fairly. Banks second, guess your decisions more frequently. Credit card limits are reduced without warning. Certain financial tools or products become off-limits purely because of your age. Even applying for a loan can involve extra scrutiny, no matter your history. The emotional toll? Tremendous. After a lifetime of being self-sufficient, suddenly every purchase feels risky. You're calculating costs more carefully. You may find yourself choosing between medications and meals, between turning on the heat or keeping the fridge stocked. And unfortunately, it gets worse. People over 80 are often targeted by scammers who count on isolation, trust, or cognitive decline. In some heartbreaking cases, even family members manipulate finances under the guise of helping. But Dorothy found a way to protect herself and stay in control. She automated key expenses so bills were always covered. She added account alerts that notified a trusted contact of suspicious activity. She learned how to spot and avoid the most common scams. And she tapped into programs that many seniors don't even know exist, from energy bill assistance to medication discount cards. Most importantly, she found a middle ground, involving family and financial matters while still maintaining authority over her decisions. She shared oversight, not control. The lesson is simple. Don't wait until you're in a financial bind. Plan for the true costs of aging now. Research support options early. Put safety nets in place while you're still sharp and assertive enough to manage them on your own terms. What financial hurdle surprised you the most as you got older? Drop your experience in the comments. Your story might give someone else the foresight to prepare more wisely. But now we move into the truth that people avoid more than any other, even though it shapes every single day after 80. Truth number 6. You begin living face to face with your own mortality. For most of life, death feels like a distant concept, something that happens to others, someday, far off. But after 80, that illusion disappears. Dorothy described the moment it hit her. One morning I looked at my contact list and realized more of my friends were buried than still alive. Death was no longer an abstraction, it was personal. It was approaching. This isn't about being gloomy, it's about recognizing the mathematics of aging. The people you've grown up with, worked beside, shared memories with, they're passing. Maybe your partner is already gone. Your siblings may be struggling with serious illnesses. And with each phone call or message, there's a chance it brings news of another farewell. The emotional toll is heavy. You go to more funerals than celebrations. You skim obituaries not out of curiosity, but to see who else you've lost. You start asking yourself questions no one can answer. How much longer do I have? What signs should I watch for? Even minor health problems feel ominous. Every goodbye takes on new weight. Dorothy described it like this: I'd wake up in the morning and wonder who we might lose today. If I saw flashing lights in the neighborhood, I'd wonder if they were coming for someone I knew. A twinge in my chest could set off a chain of thoughts. Is this the end? Death wasn't just around her, it was beside her. This awareness seeps into everything. It changes how you make plans. You begin to question whether it's worth investing in that home improvement, planning that vacation, or starting something new. It makes you urgent about things you've been putting off for years. You grieve not only those you've lost, but the version of yourself that once felt unlimited, and the future you know is shrinking. Even more isolating? Most people don't want to talk about it. Younger friends and family often steer away from conversations about death. They say, don't think that way, or stay positive. But pretending mortality doesn't exist doesn't erase it, it just leaves you alone with the weight of it. Dorothy, though, found something surprising in facing it head-on: freedom. Once she stopped avoiding the truth, she began living with greater clarity. The things that used to bother her didn't hold the same power anymore. She focused her energy on what actually mattered. She said, "I love you," more often. She laughed more easily. She forgave without waiting for an apology because the time to hold on to resentment had passed. She began writing letters to her children and grandchildren, filled with stories and life lessons. She took the time to document her family's history, creating something meaningful to leave behind. She stopped pushing old emotions aside and started releasing them. Most importantly, she embraced what she couldn't control and used that acceptance to guide how she lived each day. The shift is profound, turning your awareness of mortality from a source of fear into a source of focus. Because when you fully understand that time is limited, you begin to make every hour count, not someday, but now. How do you continue to find meaning and fulfillment in your later years? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your journey could be just the encouragement someone else needs. And now, we've reached the final truth, the one that changes everything. Truth number 7. You'll uncover a strength and wisdom you never expected. This was the discovery that surprised Dorothy the most. After losing so much friendships, physical ability, independence, visibility, she found something deeper. Strengths she didn't know she had. Clarity she never experienced in her younger years. And that's what makes this truth so powerful. It reframes every difficult experience into something that can empower you. After surviving 8 decades of life's twists and turns, you earn a kind of resilience that's hard to shake. You've made it through loss, illness, uncertainty, and change. You've faced heartache and hardship and kept going. That history becomes a kind of proof. If you've come this far, you can handle whatever comes next. Problems that once felt insurmountable now feel like just one more hill to climb, and you've climbed hundreds. Dorothy realized that even as her body slowed down, her mind grew sharper in new ways. She found that physical limitations sparked ingenuity. She couldn't do things the same way anymore, so she figured out new approaches, often more efficient and thoughtful than before. She stopped seeing help as a sign of weakness and instead saw it as a sign of wisdom. Knowing when to accept support is its own kind of strength. And the sense of being invisible? That loss of societal expectation brought an unexpected freedom. With no one pressuring her to fit a role, she was finally free to be fully herself. She spoke more honestly. She pursued hobbies she'd never explored. She followed her own compass, no longer chasing approval. Even her financial constraints led to surprising joy. Without the ability to spend freely, she paid closer attention to the moments that truly mattered. A warm conversation, a shared laugh, a quiet afternoon in the garden, these became her riches. Perhaps most unexpectedly, facing mortality brought her into focus. She let go of pettiness, forgave old wounds, and stopped wasting time on things that didn't nourish her spirit. With time feeling precious, she prioritized only what felt truly meaningful. But her greatest discovery? Her wisdom. The insights and life experience she'd gathered over the years became her most valuable gift. She began mentoring younger people, listening, guiding, sharing stories they couldn't find in any textbook. Her age, once seen as a burden, became her greatest contribution. In the end, Dorothy realized something beautiful. Every difficulty she faced in her 80s also carried the seed of growth. The losses deepened her appreciation. The limits sparked new creativity. The solitude led to reflection, and all of it added up to a life of depth, purpose, and quiet power. So, what message would you pass down to the next generation? What wisdom has aging taught you that you wish others knew? Share your reflections in the comments. Your wisdom could shift someone's entire outlook on growing older. Dorothy's journey from that emotional phone call to becoming a voice for honest conversations about aging shows that facing reality head-on changes everything. Instead of being caught off guard by each new challenge, she chose to prepare. Instead of feeling helpless in the face of aging, she became stronger through awareness and thoughtful planning. She nurtured new friendships before her social circle thinned. She set healthy boundaries with her children before medical or financial crises made those discussions more difficult. She made practical changes to her home while she still had the ability, not in the middle of an emergency. She put financial protections in place before vulnerability made her an easy target. She reflected on her mortality before fear or sadness could settle in. Most of all, she discovered that the difficult truths of aging are also doorways to personal power and inner peace. By 84, Dorothy was leading a local group for seniors, passing along what she'd learned and helping others walk their path with dignity and courage. Her message was simple but powerful. You can't stop aging, but you can meet it with preparation, awareness, and grace. You can't eliminate every challenge, but you can face them with confidence when you understand what's coming. These 7 truths about life after 80 aren't here to scare you, they're here to equip you. They're your roadmap to aging with purpose. If this video helped you see things differently, tap that like button so more seniors can find this information. Share it with someone who might need these insights right now. Which of the 7 truths resonated most with you? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Together we can create a space for honest, compassionate conversations about aging. And if you're ready for more real talk about growing older with clarity and intention, subscribe to the channel. Because understanding what lies ahead is the first step toward reclaiming your future with strength and peace of mind. You've made it this far. Now it's time to move forward with purpose. Don't wait until aging catches you off guard. Take action now, speak your truth, and shape the rest of your life on your own terms. You're not in this alone, and you never have to be.